Blessings, Facebook family. Come on in. Let's talk tonight. I want to talk to you about how to live and recover beyond a broken heart. Come on, let's talk. This is going to be good. I hope this blesses everybody tonight. Come on in, let's talk. So listen, I really wanted to get on here and share this with you. It was something that I taught in our Bible study in Houston. Bishop had me come in and do Bible study, so it was something that we shared there in the Houston location. And so I wanted to bring it to you guys and just share my thoughts with you. And again, these are all my thoughts. Some of these are my thoughts and some of this is Bible. But I wanted to share this with you, just what I've experienced and what you need to do to move beyond a broken heart, or to live your life beyond a broken heart. And I want to set this foundation. In Proverbs. In Proverbs, it tells us, Proverbs 4:23 says, keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it flows the issues of life. All right? Keep that. Out of it flows the issues of life. And the reason why I chose that scripture, the reason why that one jumped out to me, is because at the end of the day, we've all experienced some type of heartache. We've all experienced some type of pain. We've all experienced some type of, hurt that has cut us deep, whether it was a relationship, whether it was the ending of a marriage, whether it was the ending of, just friendly relationships and everything, people that you've been connected to, for years. This was my friend. This was my, we've been friends for this amount of time. We went all the way back to grade school, whatever the case may be, whether it's the hurt that comes from family, loved ones, those that are close to you, that know you, that are never supposed to betray you, We've all had to do it. It's a part of the human existence. In fact, the reality is this: you can't live on planet Earth successfully and not have relationships. You cannot live on planet Earth and have no relationships. And the reality behind relationships is, people are going to break your heart at some point. If they haven't yet, as the old folks say, keep on living. It's going to happen to you eventually. And you also need to know this, that, the truth of the matter is, while people are going to break your heart, you can't necessarily stop that. You can't stop it. Well, what I mean by stop it is you can't manage the intents of another person's heart. You can't manage the intents of another person's heart. That's why it's not a good idea for a woman to get involved with the man. We see this a lot of time with women, but it's not good for a woman to get involved with a man thinking that she can change him or make him be something that he doesn't want to be. Making him, to make him be something that she feels like she deserves. That's not going to work, because the choice at the end of the day, it has to start with him. It has to start with him. Same thing with the man, you can't make that woman be, what you want her to be. You can't make her be what you want her to be. The choice has to start with her. The choice starts with the individual. You cannot make a person be what you want them to be. That's the reality of it at the end of the day. All right. And most of the time, we see a lot of people, we make the investment. We all make the mistake of, we make the investment into people. Or into a person, whether it be in, family, like I said, or long-standing relationships, friends, colleagues, whatever the case may be, relationships, love, all that stuff. We make the investment into people, and only for them to sometimes, leave and mistreat us, and then leave us broken and picking up the pieces by ourselves. When I'm in past relationships, when I've been married before, I shared with them that I invested my heart and my time and my resources into my marriage, but the reality is this, that I was going through a situation where she didn't want to commit to me. She didn't want to commit to me, and so the result was we were divorced and I was left picking up the pieces. That's my truth, That's my truth. And the catch-22 and all of that was, yes, I was free from the relationship. Yes, I was free from things, from what was killing me, but I had to manage my own recovery alone. I had to manage my recovery alone. See, it's nobody else's job. It's no one else's job to manage your recovery from brokenness to wholeness. It's nobody else's job to manage that part of the process. God gives you the strength to live on from it and to learn, it gives you the strength to live on and learn from it. But you have to manage your life and rebuild your life with the help of God. He's going to open the door for you, but you gotta get yourself in position for things to happen. You got to pick yourself up. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. I don't want anybody to feel like, it's nothing to be ashamed of. In fact, the reality is, the fact right now is it's not nothing to be ashamed of to just go and say, hey, my heart is broken. I need to hit the reset button, or my heart is broken. I need time to heal. I need time to recover. I need to get healthy again, so I can be ready for, what God has for me, or what God is, pushing me into, or for what God is already developing into my life. I'll never forget, one day I was laying in bed and the Lord had told me, he said, get strong, get healthy, because the replacement is coming. And for many of you, you got to get strong, you got to get healthy, because the replacement is coming. So let's really get into this. How do you move on? How do you live on from a broken heart? Well, number one, it has to be death to the rebound. There has to be death to the rebound. In my immaturity, in my younger days, I would just go from relationship to relationship. And because I understood that I could just rebound from having my heart broken. I may cry about it for a couple of days. I may sulk about it for a couple of days, but I could move on. I could rebound from having my heart broken. You see? And I could just start talking to another person, another woman and everything, and within days. So I didn't have to endure the pain of a heartbreak by myself. I guess kind of like a medicate. We use rebounds to medicate ourselves. And see, everyone loves the idea of rebounding, because then you don't have to process your pain by yourself. There's no time for reflection. There's no time for evaluation. We make the mistake of moving on prematurely. We make the mistake of moving on prematurely. And before I moved on, before I did anything else, in my life, I had to take a time and a period just to say, what, I just need to do me. I wouldn't commit to another relationship. I wouldn't commit to anybody else, because I needed time to just enjoy my journey and be single by myself. And I had to enjoy the journey of becoming whole by myself. And when you start the rebound, the process of the rebound, or rather, when you start trying to find the next person or the next boo, in that moment, when you try to find that, you disrupt the journey of discovering who you are. You disrupt the journey of discovering who you are. See, when I was single, I was able to, tap into who I was. That was the time when I got the chance to tap into who I really am, and to really begin to own that and embrace that, and really get into, this is what I am. This is what God called me to do. These are my gifts. These are my talents. This is that. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. That's where I really started to get into myself, myself as who I am. I tapped into God's plan for my life. I had my good days and I had my bad days, but I had to give myself time to process a bad breakup. And for anybody that thinks that singleness, we live in a day and age where some people treat singleness as a curse. That's not the case. That's not the case. Singleness is your time for self-discovery and personal breakthrough. Yep. Singleness is your time for personal discovery and personal breakthrough. When people that have hurt you, walked out on you, when they've seen you, when they see you, they know that they hurt you and everything, they understand that without them in the equation, you are a better version of yourself. Without them being involved in the picture, you are a better version of themselves, of yourself. All right, number 2. Excuse me. We have to learn self-evaluation. We're talking about how to move on from brokenness, from a heartbreak. You have to learn the power and the importance of self-evaluation. Breaking away from relationships and from people, and having our heart broken by people that we love. It's not an easy part. It's not an easy part of life, because no one likes to process pain. But, processing pain means that I have to examine myself, my error. Processing pain means that I have to do some self-evaluation. And self-evaluation, watch this, gives you the opportunity to show yourself that, hey, you're not always right. You're not always right. And matter of fact, you're subject to be wrong. It shows you that, hey, at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, the world doesn't revolve around you. It can show you that, hey, I know you like to think this about yourself, but you lack the maturity needed to look beyond small and petty issues in relationships. One of the biggest things that self-evaluation does is it can show you that you lack discernment in your relationships. See, when you lack discernment in your relationships, you continue to connect with people and you ignore the red flags around them. It's like a woman, picking the same type of dude, over and over again, picking the same type of guy over and over again. And guess what? She keeps reintroducing her heart to the cycle of heartbreak. She keeps reintroducing her heart to the cycle of heartbreak. It's like she never gets enough of her heart being broken by the same type of person, by the same type of guy. Will y'all do me a favor? Share this video for me. Invite your friends and your followers in. This is good. I know it's going to bless somebody. But you got to learn how to discern. You have to make a decision to end the cycle, and you have to make a decision to love smart. Love smart. And loving smart says, you have to tell yourself that I'm capable. You have to recognize that I'm capable of loving you and giving you my everything and loving you hard and loving you too hard and loving you too much. Much more than you are willing to return to me. So it's best that we put distance, or rather I put distance between you and I, and in order to protect my heart. In other words, if I get too close, if I stay too close, you're going to eventually hurt me. You're going to eventually hurt me. So I'm going to love you, but I'm going to love you from over here. I'm going to put some distance between us. The further I am away, the less you can hurt me. And eventually what happens is we get so distant from one another that I learn that I can move on and live without you. I hope this is blessing y'all. Number three, you have to protect your heart. You have to protect your heart. You have to protect your heart. You have to protect your heart and your emotions by drawing boundaries. That is how you protect your heart and you protect your emotions, by drawing boundaries. Boundaries tell the world how you deserve to be treated. Yep. Boundaries tell the world how you deserve to be treated and that you expect nothing less than that. Boundaries tell the world that you got a fence around your heart that says, my heart will not be exploited or abused for your pleasure and amusement. I'll say that again. Boundaries tell the world that you have a fence around your heart with a sign that says, my heart will not be exploited and abused for your amusement or pleasure. Yep. My daughter, she's a baby, and she's, just a little baby. And she already understands how to manipulate daddy's heart. She already knows that, how to cry, how to, when I walk in the house and I see her and everything, and I reach to grab her and all that stuff. Or I walk in the room, I reach to grab her, she is already extending her arms, for me to grab her. She knows my voice, all that stuff. She knows what sounds to make, to get me to hold her, to say, to get me to hold her, to rock her to sleep, because she knows that, hey, I get to fall asleep in dad's arms all night if I want to, and he's not going to move. She understands all of that. Now, the problem with that is this. If I'm still letting this little girl manipulate me in my thinking and my decisions when she's at 15 years of age, because now we got a problem, 15 years from now, when I want her to respect my word and behave a certain way, I need to draw boundaries in her life at some time. At some time in her life, I have to draw boundaries and I have to enforce boundaries. Sometime, at some point in her life, I have to let her know that, hey, this is the boundary line. This is how far you can take it with dad. And if you step across this line, then I have to punish you. I have to reinforce this boundary. So I have to punish you. You need to know what the consequence of that is. Some of you are lax in reinforcing your boundaries. And as a result, people keep stepping over the line when it comes to you. Their behavior it keeps going over the line, over the top when dealing with you, because they understand that there are no consequences to dealing with you how they feel like dealing with you. See, boundaries at the end of the day, watch this, they check bad behavior. Boundaries, they check bad behavior before it causes you any damage. Yep. Boundaries check bad behavior before it gives you any damage or causes you any damage. If you refuse to confront bad behavior, it will never change. It will never change. It will never change. And then my last point, and I'm done. You got to live your life. You have to live your life. If you're going to recover from the brokenness, you're going to recover from a bad relationship, you have to uncuff your life or uncuff yourself from a dead relationship and live your life. Learn to move on when the season has passed. Learn to move on when the season is over. Learn to release people when their season is over. Learn to release. The Bible talked about a story, the prophet Samuel. And the Bible talks about how the prophet, he had an issue with, he's what you call a kingmaker. One of the names for the prophet Samuel was he was a kingmaker because he laid his hand upon the first set of kings into the Bible, David and Saul, or Saul rather and David. And Saul, his relationship with Saul was a little different. It was back and forth at times. But because of Saul's decisions and because of the intents of Saul's heart, he crossed the line not only with Samuel, but with the Lord. And as a result, the Lord showed him the consequences of that. He said, all right, Saul, because you crossed the line, I told you to do this, and you didn't do it. So I'm taking the kingdom out of your hand. And not only that, I'm rejecting you, and I'm putting David in your stead. You've been replaced. Well, at the end of Samuel, at the end of one of the chapters, rather, the Bible says that, talks about how Saul was grieving. He was sad, He was just like, why, why is this happening? He's grieving because the Lord has rejected Saul. And the Lord says something to the effect to Samuel. He says, why are you grieving over him? Have I not appointed or anointed another? Get up, go down the road and go to Jesse's house. I will anoint the next king of Israel. In other words, he was telling him, I moved on from Saul, so why are you still crying about him? The Lord has moved on from certain relationships in your life, yet you're still holding on to them. God has moved on from certain relationships, from dead relationships in your life, yet you are still clinging to them, trying to resuscitate them. You begging the person, oh, come back, I need you. Things will be different this time. No, it's over. You need to let that go. See, God can't give you something that what you deserve and put the best in your life if you keep holding on to what was trying to kill you in the first place, what's trying to destroy you in the first place. I'm finished. You got to learn to live your life. You got to learn to let that stuff go. If it's in the past, it's in the past. It's dead. You got to release them, because guess what? They've already released you. Oh yeah, the fact that they could walk out the door or walk out of your life, the fact that they were willing to break your heart for their reason, lets you know that they can live without you being present around them. Let you know that they are okay with functioning in their life without you. And at that point, you need to realize, okay, I'm like this. And this is for all, for most of my relationships. Once you show me that that you don't need me around or you don't want me around, things like that, I'm out. Whether it's a job, whether it's this, whether it's family, once you show me that what I mean by good, that I bring no value to you, then I'm out the door. Because I don't need to be here. You need to be in a place where you're celebrated, not tolerated. And a lot of us, we connect with people, we connect with relationships, we connect where you are a means to an end. You connect with people and relationships where you are a means to an end. And then once your season is over in their life, or once things are done, once they've got what they've got, once it's said, they're done with you, they move on. And yet you still trying to pick up the pieces, trying to cling on, because your whole life, your whole existence has been involved and wrapped up in that one relationship, or with that one person, or with that family member, or with whoever. They allowed you to become, your life has been absorbed and invested into what they're doing. And you never took time to build for yourself, build something for yourself, do something for yourself, pour into yourself, better yourself, educate yourself in this area, all of that. Because you made their agenda a priority. I hope this is blessing y'all tonight. So listen, I wanted to share that with you. Recap. How to move on from a broken heart. How to move on. Number one, there has to be death to the rebound. Death to the rebound. You can't, just jump from relationship to relationship. Jump from my generation, man. We have that bad when it comes to preachers and things like that. because a lot of us never had fathers, we tend to jump from, this spiritual father, that spiritual father, this spiritual father, that spiritual father. And we take on, excuse the way I say it, it's in the Bible, but we take on the spirit of a bastard instead of a spirit of a son. This is my spiritual mother. That's my spiritual man. We jump because we're rebounded. We never take time to do any self-evaluation, which leads to the second point. You got to understand and embrace the importance of self-evaluation. It ain't always everybody's fault. You got some fault in there too. And the quicker that you realize that and embrace that, the quicker you can rectify your behavior and your decision making. You can end the cycle. And number 3, you got to protect your heart. You got to be wise. You got to learn to love from a distance. It's okay to love people. Just love smart. It's okay to love people. It's okay to embrace people, but do it smart. Use wisdom. Because remember, you can't manage the intents of people's heart. In other words, you don't know when they're going to plan to hurt you, or you don't know when they're going to let you down. Or you don't know that one day you call somebody for that ride and they can't and they say, I can't do it. They let you down for whatever reason. You don't know. Or you don't know that day that, you've invested into this relationship and everything, and then you walk through the door one day. We see it all the time. You walk through the door one day and boom, you see somebody cheating on you. You don't know the day that that's going to happen. You don't know the day that you've been on the job for long periods of times. You've invested in working, and they give you a pink slip and say, hey, we like everything that you've done for us and everything, but at this time we think it's best for, we got to terminate you because it's best to, we think it's best to move on without you. You never know when that day is going to happen. You can kind of guess. I guess you can try to, discern it, but you never know when that day is going to happen, which is why you got to learn to love smart. You got to protect your heart and your emotions. You can't be so invested that you lose self. And then lastly, you got to live your life. Uncuff yourself from dead things. You can't grow attached to dead things while you're attached to dead things. You can't be free to experience new things and move about, your journey and everything and step into purpose while you're bound and chains to something that's not moving, that has no life in it. You got to learn to move on from dead things. Now listen, I hope this blessed y'all. It blessed me sharing it with you. Listen, what I want you to do is visit my YouTube page. It's JL Smith. This will be on YouTube. Visit my YouTube page. Make sure you subscribe and everything. Connect with me. Turn on the notification symbol. Follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram, officially JL Smith. I'm on Twitter, JL Smith Official. You want to, connect with me on Facebook, JL Smith. Hit the like button. I'm glad you did. Hey, how you doing, Sister Monique? But you want to, connect and everything. We're in the process of rebuilding the website, so we're getting that back up and going. We're making some changes, some major changes. We want to do an overhaul to it, so I'm excited about that. But just guys, hit that subscribe button. I want to keep you up to date with fresh content, and I love all of y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Listen, I hope this was a blessing to you. I want you to share this with as many people as possible, okay? Share this with as many people as possible, all right? And until we meet again, I love you guys, and I'll see you all soon.